Dr. Rebecca Evanco, Executive Director of Wilderwood, a 501c3 nonprofit in New Mexico. Wilderwood has a dual mission: autism and horses. It opens opportunities for autistic adults through its equine-inspired programs, research, and services. Wilderwood also provides a home and training for unwanted horses and involves and educates the community about both autism and horses. This video is part of a grant that we received for ASAP, Autistic Self-Advocacy Project. The grant was proposed to make a searchable online directory of everyday resources for autistic and neurodivergent people, curated and created for autistic and neurodivergent people. The ASAP directory is not like other directories. Many times, online listings for autistic or neurodivergent people focus on their deficits, ways to maybe even cure them, finding therapists or services, people who are trained to help autistic or neurodivergent people. Or the services provided are intended for children. We wanted something different for ASAP. What if there was a listing of everyday services, businesses, activities, people, or places that made life a bit easier for autistic and neurodivergent people? This might be an accountant whose office features soft, non-fluorescent lighting, who has some knowledge about autistic adults, and maybe have a companion dog present, like Ollie. Or a restaurant that offers a quiet section where autistic people can enjoy a meal without excessive noise or people or sensory overload. What about a place to hold a conference or meeting that features autistic-friendly spaces? Or professional services from those who are autistic themselves or who are knowledgeable about autistic adults, attorneys, counselors, therapists, photographers. What about trade services that are autistic-friendly? Plumbers, electricians, welders, auto repair shops, painters. ASAP was conceived to help make the day-to-day lives of autistic and neurodivergent people a bit easier, and to acknowledge that autistic and neurodivergent people have businesses, need personal and professional services, and that finding an autistic-friendly place that can help with these ordinary tasks of daily living can truly make all the difference. The resources listed are not 100% autistic perfect. There's likely no such thing, and the world is not like that anyway. There may, however, be aspects of a business or a service that can make a difference, even a small one, to the experience autistic people have in a world that's fundamentally not made for them. And that's the goal of ASAP. ASAP was generously funded by Next for Autism through a Color the Spectrum grant, and by our local Los Lunas Meta Data Center through a community action grant designed to bring people and technology together. Part of the grant involved making this instructional video to show other nonprofits how they can work to create their own resource listing, whether they call it ASAP or not. We want to provide a template with everything from the idea to writing the grant to finding scouts and team leaders, how to train them, the software, record keeping, and even promotion. The hope is that this video will help other nonprofits to create their own local grassroots directory for autistic and neurodivergent people. We'd love to see ASAP springing up across the country, providing opportunities for customized, local, and real resources that are autistic and neurodivergent friendly and can make life a bit easier for us in the community who are neurodivergent and autistic. One of the most important parts of this project was staffing. So take time to identify people who have the skill set, the interest, and importantly, the commitment and time for the project. It's helpful that you have funding in your budget to pay reasonable hourly rates. This is the staff that we recommend. For our grant, all staff were autistic and or neurodivergent. This was important to us because we wanted autistic and neurodivergent people to be the ones identifying the resources and creating the project for the same population it was designed to serve. Project lead. This person needs to be able to show leadership, have good administrative skill and writing skill, be able to handle a budget and oversee the grant from start to finish. The team lead, an organizer who can bring people together, has skill in supporting people to do their best work, act as the interface between the scouts and the project lead. Scouts, we recommend 6. These should be resourceful people who are adept at online research and can also follow up with in-person observation, trying places out, have excellent observation skills, the ability to write concise notes, and also to capture information accurately. A data entry person. This person should have attention to detail, a liking for repetitive computer entry, ability to check the accuracy of resources, some basic graphic design knowledge. We use Canva and recommend that to source, download, and create the images for the directory. Canva has the option to improve the quality of the image and then to resize it on a canvas so that all the images are a uniform size. That was really helpful. A web designer. This person should have excellent knowledge of web design, especially back-end modifications and coding and knowledge of web page applications and software. We had our web designer make a few tweaks on the back end of the program that we used so that it would blend seamlessly with Wilderwood's web page. So having that person with that knowledge is really helpful. So some things we learned along the way that we'd like to share with you, wouldn't we, Ollie? Include take the time to find the right people. Okay, this may sound obvious in hindsight, but we were so excited when we started that we kind of skipped that bit and we said, oh, so-and-so would be great for this role. Let's get them on board. And as it turns out, so-and-so wasn't a great fit for that particular role. So we went through 2 team leads before we found the right person. On reflection, we should have taken the time to advertise the position through our social media. We should have asked about specific experience related to the position and then held interviews in order to find the best person for the role. Set clear expectations about performance and responsibility. We quickly recognized the need to set clear expectations about performance. Scouts need to generate at least 5 resources a month, and the team lead is responsible for ensuring that they do. Otherwise, new scouts need to be found. Be open to what can be included as local. The directory is designed to be local and grassroots, but we quickly realized that there are some great online resources that could be included, even though the reach went beyond our immediate geographical area. So one example is Tomboy X, an online ordering store that specializes in sensory-friendly clothing. It's a great resource, and you could start your ASAP directory with that one right now. Emphasize scout training. They should be knowledgeable about what constitutes autistic-friendly, what they're looking for, and also personally experience or have knowledge of the resource that they identify. So do take the time to properly train the scouts in terms of what they're looking for. Emphasize the need to be clear about how or why a resource is autistic or neurodivergent friendly. And it's also absolutely preferred if the scout has first-hand experience of the resource that they're nominating. As any nonprofit grant writer will tell you, crafting a concise, persuasive proposal that aligns with the funding organisation's values and goals is key to funding. To find funds for your ASAP, look for funders who may support projects that directly impact the lives of autistic or neurodivergent people, or people with other disabilities. You could also look for grants that contain a technology component, especially ones seeking to connect people through technology. But the part we focused on the most was the budget. To use a metaphor, think of the need and justification for the grant funding as a door, and a well-crafted budget that makes sense in relation to its line items as the key that can open it. I'm going to suggest line items and a total budget for creating your own ASAP project. You can use this as a starting point and adjust up or down depending on your context. Total budget $10,000. 5 different roles for people to fill. You can find the descriptions for each role in the ASAP grant notebook that we'll provide on request. The project lead, 6 hours a month at $60 an hour by 7 months, $2,520. The team lead, 12 hours a month at $30 an hour by 4 months, $1,440. Scouts, we recommend 6, 8 hours a month at $20 an hour by 3 months, equals $2,880. Data entry and image creation, 30 hours at $30 an hour equals $900. Web design, software interface and customization, 10 hours at $125 an hour equals $1,250. The software and the domain name, $310. Office supplies for printing, materials, and paper, $200. And then marketing and promotion, $500. To request the ASAP grant notebook, which has specific recommendations for role descriptions, budget template, measures to determine success, and contract and grant language, please email Wilderwood at office@wilderwoodequinetherapy.org.
I found it really helpful that I was a scout before I became a team lead. When I was a scout, I learned through my own experience the best systems and processes for scouting before I went and wrote all that down in a digestible way for the new scouts. I made 2 really important slideshows. The first one was the most general guidelines for accommodating an autistic person, such as lighting, sound, social aspect, just how our brains work. Then the other one was scouting techniques, some of the tools I used. I also wrote about some red flags. That could be things such as there's no prices or pictures listed. If there are many TVs, it's extra visual stimulation that would make it harder for me to focus on the experience of the restaurant or the business. Even though some of the scouts were discouraged and eventually left, we still made do and were able to have a successful project. So this is just a message that even if things are hard, as long as you tried your best, that's what autism advocacy is.
Off Center Arts is a community art space in downtown Albuquerque. We serve all ages, all abilities. Our mission is to enhance the lives of all folks in the community through art making and social interactions. The core of what Off Center offers is our open studio time. People are working on painting and drawing and collage and all sorts of different things. And it can get a little hectic and get a little noisy and overwhelming sometimes. And so we added onto that a couple of hours of quiet studio in the morning. So that helps keep it a little more calm and a little quieter. And again, the capacity kind of helps people have a little more space. One of the past directors told me that they used to call the front door the destigmatizer machine. Wherever you find yourself in the world, you're welcome to come in here and make art with us. And that can be a really beautiful thing that opens up a lot of space for people to engage and interact and connect in all sorts of different ways.
I was one of the first scouts in the Wilderwood ASAP project. My whole process of looking at a place, it would be looking at it online, if it had a website, if it had good reviews, did it list out all the hours. Then if it looked like it was worth checking out, I would go in person. And there were specific things I would look for, things such as if there was self-checkout, or if the layout was intuitive, if it was organized, everything was well-stocked. If things were labeled, having restrooms be very clearly located, specific locations where you're gonna pick something up or drop something off be also clear. I would fill out a form and I would list out all the information about the business, all the observations I found that made it autistic friendly or not autistic friendly, and then if it was going to go into the ASAP directory. Personally, I enjoyed it because I thought of it as like being a spy or like an undercover critic or an inspector for a place, because I was looking at it at like the perspective of an autistic person and not like a neurotypical.
Hotel Andaluz is about 84 years old. It's a very soothing atmosphere just because of the Moroccan theme itself. It's just very relaxing, it's beautiful, it's homey. You have the patios on the bar, you have the mezzanine, the hidden secret rooms like the Casbahs. There's 6 of them in the hotel. They have curtains that close. They're very private. You can have drinks, you can have dinner, conversate, get a book, read, or just sit quietly on your computer. Hotel Andaluz library is full of books. The room has low lighting. It's quiet in here, comfortable furniture. You can sit with a friend, sit by yourself, and just really just enjoy and relax in here. And all of the lighting in the hotel is adjustable, the music's adjustable. Overall, it's just a great location, very quiet and private. And we try to cater to everyone.
We hired a person with expertise in web page building to create the new domain and integrate the software. There was some customization that we requested, including overlaying the colors, fonts, and photos from Wilderwood's webpage onto the directory software to maintain a seamless look. We also wrote into the contract that the web person would be available to troubleshoot the directory in the first 2 weeks after launch, inclusive of their fee. We requested and received a W-9 from the web page designer, paid her by check from grant funds, and then later issued a 1099 for tax purposes. This is the same way we paid all the participants in the grant. Because keeping the directory updated is incredibly important, we had our web designer slightly modify the back-end editing function to make it as simple as possible to update existing entries or bring in new ones. Images of the business, service, or product was also important for visual identity and site appeal. We used Canva to create images of uniform size, starting with a 500 by 500 pixel canvas. We also used the upgrade image function in Canva when logos or photos downloaded from a business or service were not as sharp or high quality as we would have liked. Once the Scouts had identified resources and completed the online resource form, the team leader sent the forms to our data entry person. This person was responsible for entering the first 100 resources, ensuring the accuracy of the information, and creating a photo and logo for each entry. Although this was quite a lot of work up front, once the directory was established, it could be revised or new entries added quickly and efficiently. The final piece of ASAP was to let as many people as possible know about its existence. We used a combination of the following to promote ASAP and get it known in our local community. Everyone here at Wilderwood hopes that you, the person watching this video, have found it helpful and informative. We'd really like to encourage you to take up the ASAP challenge and create a local database for your community. Again, if you're interested in receiving the ASAP notebook, which contains more information about writing the grant proposal and also some other resources that you can adapt and use straight away, including the PowerPoint for training scouts, you can email us at office@wilderwoodequinetherapy.org. Finally, we are truly grateful to Next for Autism and the Colour the Spectrum grant, as well as our local Metadata Centre in Los Lunas for funding support with their Community Action Grant. Not only was Wilderwood's ASAP funded by these two amazing organisations, the creation of this video and the information packet was made possible by them as well. We wish you all the very best in your community and hope you will be emailing us soon to let us know and show off your ASAP community project.
Hasta mi día, te esperaré todo mi día. Te esperaré hasta mi día, te esperaré todo mi día. Todo el día y toda la noche, no puedo dejar de pensar en ti. Todo el día y toda la noche, siempre estaré contigo. Siempre estaré contigo. Te esperaré hasta mi día, te esperaré todo mi día. Te esperaré hasta mi día, te esperaré todo mi día. Todo el día y toda la noche, no puedo dejar de pensar en ti. Todo el día y toda la noche, siempre estaré contigo. Todo el día y toda la noche, no puedo dejar de pensar en ti. Todo el día y toda la noche, siempre estaré contigo.